Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Everyday's a Train Wreck. I'm your conductress, Marley Major, and I have another magical guest I know you guys are going to love. Let's just say I've been dreaming about her. So please welcome Layne Dalfen. And Layne, welcome to the show. And I promised Layne, even though she and I talked about how these podcasts go, promised her that I would give her like 2 to 3 minutes to just give her deal about dreams without me interrupting. Okay, so you know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to do my best. So please welcome Layne Dalfen to the show. Layne, hi.
Hi, Marley. Thank you so much for inviting me. What a happy train ride.
Yes, a happy train ride it is. And, you know, sometimes there are beautiful messes, right? So this can just be, you know, all these beautiful crashes of these, how things in life kind of converge. And we were talking before the show about how you're like, oh, there's the guy I was listening to. I was in love. And I was like, oh, Phil, the producer. Yes. So it is the magic for me with this podcast that actually I did not anticipate was how so many listeners would connect with other people who've been on the podcast and reach out and build connections. And one of my friends said, oh my gosh, I just listened to your one with Ruth Moite, and thank you. I just ordered a bunch of clothes from her company, Mustard Seed. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is, it's amazing. I mean, I interview people that I think have a fabulous story and are going to be cool and that our listeners are going to relate to. But I love all the little connections. So I'm glad you found Phil. May you have a fabulous connection with whatever you and Phil end up doing. And in the meantime, before everybody starts really blowing up the comments with, okay, but who is she and what does she do? I promised you I've been dreaming about her. So Layne, tell us what it is you do.
Okay. And I call this wallpaper. And I hope that during this time together, I am going to put up wallpaper twice. And so this is the first time I'm putting it up. And the reason I call this putting up wallpaper is because I want all of us, I'm going to ask you all to accept what I am proposing, because if you do, we will all be standing in the same room. And so the first part about the wallpaper is that every single dream is an interior, problem-solving conversation that takes place between your unconscious and your conscious. And I will go deep in this conversation, but I never go deep first. I always stay surface. And on a surface level, this problem-solving conversation gets triggered by something that either happened to you yesterday or something that you thought about yesterday. And it's always something that's bothering you, because we humans every day have something that is on our mind. We're feeling like a train wreck about something to a greater or lesser degree. So my job, since I am not a psychic, what I do is the opposite of a psychic, who you tell me the dream. And if I was, and a psychic tells you why you had that dream. That's not what happens with me, because I have a psychological approach. So you tell me your dream and I know the right questions to ask you so that you tell me why you had the dream. Because I have no way of knowing what happened in your life yesterday and what issue this week you are attempting to problem solve. And so I've been doing this, by the way, and I know we'll go down the rabbit path about this.
Right.
I have been doing this for a little over 50 years.
Wow.
I'm 73 years old.
You do not look 73. I promised you I wouldn't interrupt, but for that, I need to interrupt and say you guys got to watch this on social media or on YouTube so you can realize that the woman does not look 73. But anyway, okay.
You're very sweet.
I digress. Keep going.
Okay. And so I understood, once I started understanding, that what I really do is teach the language of metaphor. Much more than I am a dream analyst, I understand the language of metaphor, and that's what I'm doing, is teaching you the language so you could understand what the heck you were saying to yourself when you had that crazy dream. And so I developed a very simple, easy 6-point of entry method of questions you can ask yourself or your friend who had a dream. And I base my questions on those 6 points of entry. So I'm just going to tell you what those 6 points of entry are. You can all grab a pen and then we'll go in more detail as we talk. They are the feelings, the action, the symbols, the play on words and puns, the repetition, and the plot. So whenever I hear a dream, I get attracted to, and so will you. You will get attracted to one of the points of entry. And there's not one that's better than another. They all work. They might get you somewhere different, but they all work.
Okay, could you say them in case somebody's driving or in case somebody's like, wait, I didn't have a pen or I didn't have my phone ready to take notes. Can you say them one more time? The 6 points of entry.
They are the feelings, the action, the symbols, the repetition, the puns and play on words, and the plot.
Got it. Okay.
And if you would allow me, I'm okay about going with the flow, but I could give you simple, easy examples of each point of entry, and then you really will get me for the balance of this conversation.
Okay. Yes. I mean, I have so many things I'm dying to jump in and say, but I think your way is better.
Let's talk about the feelings.
Got it.
And so here's a guy who dreams that his wife, who he's been married to for 25 years, is cheating on him. And so I immediately went for the feelings. How did you feel in the dream?
Right.
Betrayed. So my next question is, what do you think happened in the last week or so that had a situation that has you feeling betrayed? Right. Bingo. He had a client, also 25 years, because you'll find out it's going to blow you away how sophisticated the unconscious mind is.
Oh, I love that.
That's why I was compelled to do this for the last 50 years. And so it was a client who took his business somewhere else. So here's my question. If your mate was cheating on you, would you be standing there saying nothing? No. The dream takes a relationship that is also for 25 years and replaces the client with his wife, because we all know that if your spouse or your partner is cheating on you, you're not going to stay silent, because is this guy talking to the client about it? No, he's not. He's being human. He's lying, avoiding, sweeping, denying. It's called Welcome to the Human Race.
Yeah.
So the dream moves him to his emotion, which propels him to speak. And that's what happened. The dream happened, and it encouraged this dreamer to call the client and say, why did you take your business away from me, and work it out. Next, the action. Here's 2 good action dreams. The first one is a 1-picture dream about a woman whose chair is in flames. That's the whole dream. And she wakes while she's jumping out of her chair that is literally on fire. And that person was procrastinating. And
wow, that's a good one. Okay.
Started the motion from the action. That's how it happened.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Or what about when somebody says to me, I was trying to run, but my feet were dragging. So that's an action point of entry. And I'm going to ask that person, where is it that you're trying to get to, that you're dragging your feet? Is it that you're trying to get somewhere in a relationship, or you're trying to get somewhere in your job, but you're dragging your feet? Oh my God. And that encompasses a pun or a play on words. I always tell dreamers to say the dream out loud, because you will hear what the dream is about if you say the dream aloud. And I'm dragging, my feet are dragging, or I'm dragging my feet. It's a pun and a play on word.
All right. And when you say it that way, then it totally makes sense. Like if you kind of close your eyes and say, I'm dragging my feet, as you describe it, all of a sudden you're like,
that's exactly,
okay, that's bingo. I get it.
That's what I mean. That's when you get the bingo.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite play on words and puns was when this is like maybe 30 years ago, I was dreaming that I was on the lower campus of a university in Asheville, North Carolina, always walking around on my knees. And by the way, I had several dreams that week where I was on my knees, except in this dream, it started to snow and I was trying to get to the upper campus and I couldn't get up the stairs on my knees. And when I woke up in the morning, I said to my husband, Andy, I couldn't stand up. And he said, why? Who are you having trouble standing up to? And I said, no, you have to go to work now.
Wait, wow. Yeah, that's like AI, right? When the teacher has like, I mean, now he's like learned from you. And okay, but wait a second. I know I'm really trying hard not to interrupt. Did you have a connection to Asheville, North Carolina, or was that just symbolic? That was just like, not symbolic.
I was at an IASD, the International Association for the Study of Dreams, of which I've been a member since 97. And I know Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I was at a university there for that conference.
Okay. All right.
In fact, I wrote a whole book about a dream that I had while I was in Asheville. So as soon as he said that, I knew, who am I having trouble standing up to?
Wow.
And here's an example of repetition, is that the next morning, I dreamed that I was kneeling in the office of a guy whose name is Neil. So you got the repetition and you've also got play on words and puns again. And so I asked myself, what are the first 2 or 3 things that using Neil as a symbol, I asked myself, what are the first 2 or 3 things that come to my mind about Neil? And the first thing that comes to my mind about him is that Neil is a friend and business associate of my brother. Hello. And it was my brother who I was having trouble standing up to.
No way.
Kneeling in the office of a guy whose name is Neil. That's repetition.
Okay. This is, what I'm scared for is I feel like, you know how they have these days, like on Netflix, when you watch something and it has a disclaimer and it says like flashing lights, like alcohol use. Like I want this to have disclaimer. You might be here all day. Disclaimer, like listening to this podcast. Okay. So I feel like I'm already sitting here going, okay, how am I going to tell
through most of them, but I'll give you
keep going. I don't want you to hurry. I'm just telling you that I'm already like, I could be here all day listening to this. Okay, keep going.
So the plot is the same thing that we used to do in school. What is the story behind the story?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my 4 lovely daughters and 4 lovely granddaughters.
Bless you, man, with the 4 lovely daughters.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my daughters, who's almost 50 now, but when she was about 13, she dreamed that she had 3 weeks to live. And in the dream, she knew that I could help her because I'm a real take care of it girl. And so she knew that she's going to go for mommy and that I'm going to help her, except I wasn't able to help her in the dream. And the reason she had the dream was because her exams were 3 weeks away and she wasn't studying, and she felt like, you know, that expression, I was so embarrassed. I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
Exams are 3 weeks away.
Wow.
So that's what she dreamt. She had 3 weeks to live, and she was correct. I can't help her.
Right.
The dream was to inspire her to settle down and start studying.
Wow. All righty. Okay.
I'll finish with this with this repetition, because we could talk more about repetition, because there's 3 kinds. We repeat ourselves inside the same dream.
Okay.
And
I do
that is
that all the
also
time.
from school. Read it, write it, recite it. That's how we learn. Read
Okay.
it, write it, recite it. And so your dreams are doing that. So I don't need a big, long dream. And if I got a big, long dream from you, I would break it down and we would find out that we are repeating ourselves. I only need one little section of the dream. So about 20 years ago, when my first book came out, because I'm a radio girl. I love the radio. I love thinking on my feet, the callers calling in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm
That's
with you.
where I belong.
Yeah.
And so I'd never been on TV before at that time in my life. And I was invited to be on Good Day New York after the Christmas holidays.
Wow. I've been on that show. It's a terrific show.
Yeah, and I was a train wreck.
That's okay. It's your first time.
And I wasn't talking about it. And so I went to sleep one night, just as the Christmas holidays were coming to an end, and I was going to New York for January. And at the beginning of the dream, I dreamed about a ghost. That's a symbol. What does the symbol mean to me? A ghost. It means I'm scared. And then later on in the same night, I dreamed that I was standing on the abyss of a cliff. What does that mean? It means I'm scared. And in the morning, I dreamed about my grade 5 teacher. And what does that mean? It means I'm scared. So I'm repeating to myself, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared.
So it's not necessarily the repetition of the exact same dream, because I have those too, but you're saying it's a repetition too of the theme.
That's right.
Got it.
It's because your unconscious is hitting you over the head with a plastic baseball bat. It wants you to get it. If I didn't get it by the ghost, it tried me on the cliff. And then it gave me the grade 5 teacher. And that got me. So that made me wake up in the morning and realize, okay, I have to start talking about the fact that I'm afraid to go to New York and I'm nervous about being on TV for the first time. So I started talking to my friends and my girls and my husband about it. And as soon as you do that, you're letting the air out of the balloon.
Right.
And that's what your unconscious wants.
Oh.
Your unconscious always has the same goal. It's to take the interior conversation called the dream, bring it outside to your waking life. That's what it wants you to do. So the dream is always to inspire you to talk, because the minute you take your dream outside to waking life to other people, you are going to start getting feedback.
Because it's so scary when when you wake up. We all know that feeling, I think, of waking up and you're like, and you're just like, oh my gosh, thank goodness that didn't happen or whatever. But you're right. It's so scary as long as it's all in your head. But then as soon as you sort of
talk about
it, and so that you're not the only one that knows, and that, which is classic, because that's the thing in business.
And your ideas help your problem solving. So you don't have to solve your problems all by yourself.
Interesting.
So I'm kind of finished the first wallpaper, and the second wallpaper is deeper, and we could stay here for a bit, or I could give you the deeper wallpaper whenever you're ready. I'm good.
Yeah, this is like, don't ask the ADHD girl, which, I mean, I want all directions at all times. Okay, go with this. Go with wallpaper number 2 also right now. Let's make a deal. Let's go with wallpaper number 2.
So we're doing this again. I'm asking you to accept a premise that I'm putting forward here. And I'll say that the reason I go deeper is because if you were to say to me, there's gold under the earth here, I would say, wow, but where do we start digging?
Right.
And it's the first level of the analysis of the dream, whatever it is in your life this week that triggered this dream. That's how you know where to start digging.
Now, wait, pause. Okay, so some of these things I have to ask you points of clarification, because I know other people are going to have them. You've said a couple times the phrase "this week." Is that intentional? Like, is it okay? So it very much is what's going on this week. So you kind of start with this 7-day period. What's happening?
That's right.
Okay.
What triggered this morning's dream?
Got it.
So with the guy who dreamed his wife was cheating on him,
right?
The issue was that he had a client who took his business somewhere else,
Right.
and he wasn't speaking. So that's where we would start digging. And what did we find out when we started digging? That this guy has issues, deeper issues in his
Surprise.
personality about speaking up when something is bothering him. So
Interesting.
you see it reflected in the life situation with the client. But if you dig deeper, you find out this guy's always holding in what he really
Right.
wants to say.
Interesting. Okay.
So the deeper wallpaper
Yeah.
is when I ask you to accept the fact that all of us arrive in this world whole. We come here whole. We have a plethora of potential and possibilities. We could be shy, assertive, a hero, a chicken, selfish, giving. Maybe you're an initiator who's always planning the party, and maybe you're the receiver who's always receiving a phone call, getting invited somewhere. Or maybe you were the comedian in the family, or maybe you're a person who's more serious. So we come into the world with all of it. And the people who bring us up, and this is not a judgment,
Right.
because I'm a mom.
Right.
Parents don't wake up in the morning and say, how am I going to screw this kid up today?
Absolutely. Right.
They don't. But it's not a blame thing.
Right.
It's a fact.
Right.
That the people who bring us up teach us that it's better to be one way than another way.
Right.
So we become over-exercised in certain aspects of our personality and under-exercised in others. And so this is why I do what I do, because you don't have to be stuck with your same over-exercised, knee-jerk response to waking life situations. And the problem with your over-exercised knee-jerk responses to things is that at 73, I say this with confidence, life throws you so many different situations. Oh my goodness. And so it wouldn't fit if you always have the same reaction, just like this guy with the cheating wife dream. You don't want to stay quiet and not speak up for your whole life, because life throws you situations where you have to speak up, or it would be better for you to speak up. So this is what I'm all about. I am all about learning how to use your dreams to exercise the unfamiliar aspects of your personality and take them all back. So your knee-jerk reactions, they never go away, but you can, using your dreams and the certain people and personalities that appear in your dream, not by an accident. So you have access to realize what parts of yourself are your shadows, as Jung would have called them, your unfamiliar parts of yourself. It is not an accident or random that certain people show up in your dreams during a certain week. It's because you might need to access that under-exercised part of your personality. I would use myself as a quick example. The house that I was brought up in, my father was a European. He was a Romanian. And my mother was born in Montreal, where I'm from.
Oh, I knew it. I was going to ask you if you're Canadian. Thank you. I got it. Okay, keep going. Got it.
And so she was born here, but I don't care. She was brought up by Europeans. So in my mind, we were both European.
Right.
And the message I got in my house was, don't open up that big mouth, because that was considered disrespectful. So I learned not to speak up. And so one day when I was, I'm just interrupting myself inside my own head. I want to say to you that if I go to a bank manager because I want to borrow money from the guy and I don't like his tone of voice, my knee-jerk reaction to shut up, it is appropriate to the situation. I want money from the guy. I'm not going to start talking to him about his tone of voice. But if Andy, my husband, who has a temper like my late father, if he opens up his big mouth to me, it's inappropriate for me to sit there like I'm with my father and I'm 7, or like I'm with a bank manager who I want to borrow money from. It's inappropriate. I need to access my ability to speak up for myself. And so about 30 years ago, when I turned 40, and interestingly, the same year my father died, one night, Andy, who's exactly like my father, he would take the shirt off his back for you, and he's so freaking adorable and nice. And he opened up this big fat mouth to me. And what did I do? Zero. I was all the way over there saying absolutely nothing. And that night I went to sleep and I dreamed about an aunt of mine who at the time was already gone. She was already dead about 15 years. And so using a symbol point of entry, I asked myself, what are the first 2 or 3 things that come to my mind about her? And I'll give you the same answer, Marley, that I gave myself 30 years ago. She had the biggest mouth of anybody I ever met. She was the most assertive person. And if she loved you, she would tell you. And if she didn't, she would also tell you. So because I'm all the way over there and I said nothing to him the night before, I dream about a complete polarity, the antithesis of me. I dream about the biggest, most assertive person I know.
So that's the deeper component that, like, so we're in wallpaper land number 2. Okay, got it.
My unconscious wants to pull me in the middle, because I am not here to tell you that change is easy. And I am here to tell you that change is possible.
Right.
So I understood I needed to access. I'm not going to become her overnight. Oh my goodness. Sure. But I need a little bit. So when I woke up in the morning, once I understood the dream, I said, Andrew, you were yelling at me last night. And when you do that, it makes me feel like I'm 7. I'm with my father again. Could you please not do that? So that's what I sounded like the first time I took my mouth to the gym. It was little. Could you please not do that?
Right.
Now, here I am 30 years later. Andy would never yell at me like that anymore.
I hope not, because I'll come yell at Andy. Man, I have the opposite problem. I say too many things. I'd be like, Andy, you know what? You need to close your mouth.
Yes, exactly. Because now I exercise that muscle. Right. And now if he would talk to me like that, I would tell him where to get off. Right. Because I've been exercising my voice for the last 30 years. And what happens when it's not that we have any power whatsoever, especially I'm talking to somebody from the United States. Yeah. What a wonderful time to give this message to everybody. We have no power over changing anybody else. And we are all powerful about changing ourselves. And when you change something about yourself, it's automatic that those people around you, they will change too, because maybe it took a year or 2, but at a certain point, Andy learned not to yell at me like that. It doesn't work.
Well, it reminds me of this quote that unfortunately has been used, like, just to the point that it's like, you know, with a rainbow and a cloud on a gas station, you know, calendar, but is, you know, be the change you wish to see in the world, or something. Right. I'm paraphrasing, you know, Gandhi, but it really is the only way, right? Is if you just start doing what you want everybody else to do, or what should be being done, because that's the piece that you can control. Okay. So let's continue down deep wallpaper room number 2.
I didn't finish about the repetition. So I wanted to say that repetition happens inside the same dream. A second kind of repetition happens when somebody will say to me, I had this dream like 7 times in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, funny.
And that is the exact same thing as a nightmare. So whatever your underreaction to your waking situation is, we are self-regulating organisms. The dream is going to overreact, and it helps create a balance, A, and B, it succeeds in grabbing your attention because it wants you to talk about it out loud. And so sometimes repetition over a couple of weeks or something, that it's the same thing as a nightmare. It's trying to grab your attention. And the last one is the third kind of repetition is when I hear people saying, I've had that dream my whole life. And so that's called a favorite expression. Am I allowed to swear here?
Well, I mean, Lord, woman, that's all I do on this thing is swear.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So my favorite expression is, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I could have said, oh, shit, when I was 15 years old because I missed the bus. And I could have said, oh, shit, when I was 35 because I walked by my desk and papers fell all over the floor. And I could have said, oh, shit, when I woke up this morning because I was so frightened to be on this podcast. So I'm saying the same expression.
Were you really? Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Oh, that's the funniest thing. Okay, that's hilarious. Okay, keep going. Anyway, keep going.
It's
I
okay.
can't imagine why. It's so
the energy, and then I end up doing fine. But it would be a lie to say that.
Well, you're a total natural. Nobody would ever know.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and so that's a favorite expression that starts for some reason back when whatever. Right. And whatever situation triggered that particular image in your dream, it means it gets registered in this vast reservoir or filing cabinet called your unconscious. So when you go to sleep at night, the filing cabinet opens up, or your database, right, and you want to say something to yourself. It's a conversation, and you pick and choose from this database that you have had your entire life. You cannot look it up in a dream book. It's like your fingerprint. And so you have all these metaphors and symbols and feelings. And when something happens yesterday, right, that makes you feel a similar way to the way you felt when you were 7 and you missed the bus, and you're saying, oh shit, to yourself, now you know that when you see that image, it's to help you realize what is it that you're saying, oh shit, to yourself this week.
Can I ask you a question now? Are we done with wallpaper number 2 or not?
We're kind of done, except that when at the end, we'll take a little time because I have about 8 different ways that you can find the solution, because the solution appears in the dream.
Now, one word that has continued to come up in this whole thing is repetition. Repetition, I mean, we have used the word repetition 1,000 times, okay? In my opinion. Now, and obviously I was attracted to get you booked for the podcast, right? I was very much like, and I love the whole subject of, I love dreams and astrologers and all this stuff. I'm a Sagittarius. So that kind of just goes with the territory. I said to my chief of staff, Derek, I said, listen, go find me. And he's like, oh my God, you're going to love this woman. She's at, blah, blah, blah. And she had already reached out to you. And anyway, he was right. I did love this woman. I do love this woman. I love the conversation. Now, this is what's interesting to me is because you are saying that with, the repetition component, you're saying that like dreams are exaggerated, I think, so that you kind of get the message, the ideas that you keep having them and the ideas that you talk about them. Okay. So one of the dreams that for my whole life, also something basically you just said, I will have had a series of dreams. Some of them I've grown out of course, but one of them that I have mentioned to maybe 2 people on the planet. And I'm not sure why I haven't mentioned it. And then I'm certainly not sure why I would mention it on a podcast where the world can listen, but oh well. I mean, it's just why I guess you're here with me. So my mom passed away 4 years ago. I was very, very close to my mom. I'm the oldest child. I don't even know why I'm crying. Okay. So anyway, I was very close to my mom, and there's only one reason I'm doing this. And this is because I'm listening to what you said, that there's some point to get out. So I would always travel with my mom literally around the world. And my parents are who were super, everything was education, right? Education.
Okay.
And my dad would say, I'll buy you any book. When we were little, I mean, like the bookstore, you know, the kind of the book club circus, whatever, would come to your school. And he would say, I'll buy you any book as long as you'll read it. Well, I was like the kid that, I mean, I literally had so many books, and that they were like, oh my gosh, are your parents going to be okay with that? And I'm like, yeah, my dad said I could buy any book. Same thing. Like when I was older, we'd go to the bookstore after dinner, and, you know, my dad would be like, yeah, you can buy any book as long as you're going to read it. And it was interesting because I would get all kinds of different, I would get art books, I would get science books, I would get random stuff, but I would read them. Every house I go into, it's like bookshelves upon bookshelves upon bookshelves. Like with the ladder to the bookshelf, I have so many books, and I still read to this day. Okay, my mom, her big thing was always travel and creativity, and you have to just keep trying things, right? So she was like, just go try it. Just go try it. Just go try it. My dad would use that in business. He would always say, just go try it. Just go try it. You never know. And so in a lot of ways, it's the opposite path of what you should do in business, right? Because in business, it's like pick a lane and then like do the one thing, right? Just keep getting better and better and do the one thing. Which, by the way, for a lot in a lot of ways, I believe in that, because it's very hard to run multiple companies successfully, you know, develop multiple products, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So anyway, it's definitely something that I believe in, but it has served me well, right? I've tried different things. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have built multiple 7-figure companies from the ground up. Thank God. I was encouraged, just try it, try it, try it. So when my mom passed away, of course, it was so hard because they're a very close family, but she had had cancer for years before. We're now kind of getting, I think, we'll never know, but, you know, in the years leading up to it, I was kind of tasked with, I've got to start taking over some stuff that she used to do, like her role in the family. My dad still works, and so I had to kind of help with the stuff she did at the house. They had multiple houses, etc., and then help him with his business. It turns out now it's COVID. Okay, well, thank goodness, because nobody's planning events, so I can kind of help. So I'm really knee deep in this. Right. But where I'm headed with all this is that my mom was very hard on me in those years right before she passed away. And, you know, you try, everybody tells you the same thing. You know, it's not them, obviously, you know, especially when you have cancer and probably metastasized to her brain, et cetera, et cetera. But you keep telling yourself this isn't her, right? This isn't the real her who's right. Not being nice. Because as they say, I spent my whole life traveling with her when we were very close. And I had a very difficult time with that. Now, as far as I can remember, I can't even tell you if any time in my whole life I've ever dreamt about my mom. I mean, maybe like, you know, the kind of, she's part of the dream, but it was never like, certainly never a nightmare about it. So when my mom passed away, I have had the same version of recurring dreams up until this point. And by the way, like to the point that I will yell in the night, like it's crazy. And it's some version of my mom is trying to tell me something. My mom is trying to have a conversation with me. And because of how it was, you know, the last few years, I keep saying, no, why don't you understand? I don't want to talk to you, which is very much different than how I normally would be. I mean, to the point that sometimes I have it 5 days a week. Then sometimes I have it 4 days a week. And it feels like it's all I dream about, you know, my whole night. And obviously that's not the case. And I cannot figure out, because every time it is the most negative dream. Every time it's like, you know, kind of think of it like when there's a guy chasing you that you're not interested in. And the more they chase you, the more of a turnoff it is. And you're just like, oh my gosh, right, you're giving me the icks. Like, and that's horrible to say about your mom. I'm so sorry. I need the priest on here next. But anyway, so that's a horrible feeling to have.
I'm going to just put this out there for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm projecting, obviously, because I have no way of knowing what's going on in your head, except to tell you that in a dream, typically you take the role, you take the part you feel the most connected to, and you give out all these other parts of yourself that I talked about. The part of you that's shy, assertive, a hero, a chicken, selfish, giving, all these parts of yourself that you may not feel as connected to, you give them out to different people, places, and sometimes even things. I was trying to think of something stubborn, like what animal is stubborn?
A bull.
A bull, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So that might represent the part of you that's stubborn. And all of a sudden you have a bull in your dream. And so because we give out all these parts, so you're saying, I don't want to talk to you. You're
But
saying
that's the recurring piece is that she's.
so I think I'm hearing you say
Mhm.
that if that was my dream, that would be me saying to myself that I don't want to talk to the part of myself who is nice to me. If I'm down and I'm not being nice to myself,
Mhm.
then I'm not going to want to converse with the aspect of my character who knows how to be nice to myself, who is represented by my mother. Because your mother was always nice to you. She
Right.
was very close to you. And if you're being down on yourself these days,
Mhm.
maybe if you're disappointed with yourself or you're
Mhm.
not being nice to yourself,
Mhm.
and it
Interesting.
makes sense that in a picture or in a metaphor,
Right.
that's what it would look like. It would look like your mom trying to tell you something. So in other words, the nice part of yourself who is nice to yourself is trying to get in touch with you, but you don't want to talk to her because
Well,
you're
that's okay. So on that note, so first when you say that, my brain goes to, but remember, I was saying for like 3 years before she passed away, she wasn't nice to me, and that's why I'm. But is that kind of part of it?
well,
Is
it
that
depends what's going on in these last few weeks when you have that dream because you want to reveal the fingerprint. What is it
yeah?
that you're
So
saying to yourself?
well, what's okay? So this is very interesting. The last probably couple months, maybe I haven't had the dream at all, but this is crazy. So I've been working on. So when my mom passed away, it was in June, and literally like 4 years ago in last week. Um, I was super sad, and obviously, COVID had hit, etc. Had been taking care of a lot for my family, etc. So I decided I was going to go see these sheep in the Faroe Islands. This is so random, but I had this article that I had torn out. Remember, my mom was the big traveler. She was not interested in sheep, but I had this article torn out, and I was like, I'm going to go to the Faroe Islands. And most people don't know where that is. Well, it's between Iceland and Scotland. And I was like, my oldest son and I went, and I was like, nobody's going to say I can't go no matter how much work there is, because I just lost my mom. So I go with my son, and we go to this sheep thing. And anyway, I find out all about how there's no market for wool anymore, yada, yada, yada. Go down this whole path and decide I'm going to use all the unused wool in the world for fire prevention, these products. Okay. I've been working on this thing since this trip, literally for almost 4 years. Last week, and I've been working on the patent applications. Okay. Last week, we filed the patent applications for this product that I started working on 4 years ago when I went to see these sheep because of my mom.
Right.
Patent attorney. We have the big patent attorney firm and all kinds of other people part of this because it's very scientific. And my mom was very close to my oldest cousin, who also happens to be a patent attorney and is also a chemist. So the big law firm kept saying, I'm going out of town. We got to get this filed on June 3rd. And she kept saying, June 3rd, June 3rd, June 3rd. And she's like, I'm going to be unavailable at SB. And I mean, there was so much that has been going into this application for years. Okay. So I was like, oh my Lord in heaven. So we were on the phone. That morning, I realized, oh my gosh. So she files the patent application. She sends us the text. Congratulations, we filed. You have a patent pending. And all of a sudden it hits me that text was sent within an hour of my mom passing away exactly 4 years ago.
Wow.
And I was like,
wow.
What? And I think that's why I haven't been having the dream lately, is because like she's been and getting this application and developing this product has been so far out of my scope, but I believe in it, and I've almost given up 1,000 times. And it's almost like she was just saying like pushing,
Right.
pushing, like just like keep ask, kind of, because obviously I've had to ask for help. There's so many components where I've had to bring other people in. So it's almost like she just was like pushing this somehow to the finish line.
And you were kind of pushing back.
And I was very much pushing back. Well, I couldn't push back, I don't think, anymore. But what is this whole thing coming full circle that I'm just realizing is, since this was just about to go over the finish line, I haven't had that dream anymore. And then texted my cousin. And my cousin kind of modeled her life after my mom. I mean, she was the oldest. She always wanted to be like my mom because my mom got married late and traveled and all this other stuff. And I texted my cousin. I was like, do you realize my mom passed away 4 years ago? And exactly within the hour. And I have to check because I have a feeling it's a lot more condensed than within the hour. And it was like, that has been like the thing or the project. But I guess what you're helping me realize is that I kept looking at this as something that was haunting me, like a bad thing. Like I couldn't, but it was a good thing. And my one friend that I would tell about this, I would tell my one friend and then my boyfriend, and they'd be like, and I would genuinely be haunted. Like after these dreams, I would wake up in the morning and I would be so challenged, right? I mean, I would be like, oh my gosh. And then I wouldn't tell anybody except this one friend. And
well, in this situation is also, just to speak from the unconscious's point of view, it needed you to pursue.
Right. And it was chasing me. And I would even keep saying, stop chasing me. Stop, like you need to go away. And every time in the dream, it was like, she would pass me a note at a dinner party. She would, like, all these things, like, pushing. And I would keep going, and then I would be so traumatized, and then my friend, my boy would be like, but you're really close to your mom. Like, why are you so upset about this? And I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
It was about the patent.
Right.
It was about the patent.
It was about, and
my daughter celebrated her birthday on that same day, by the way. Just to let you know.
No way.
Synchronicity is at work here.
Okay, you want to hear the craziest thing? Then you know why. Okay, so full disclosure, everybody, I was 5 minutes late getting onto this podcast this morning. And it was because, so we have these interns for this sheep project, these 3 girls working on science and all this stuff, because I'm about like get these kids off the phone and actually work in science. And so I was into this documentary to show them, because they're all working today, to show them. And this documentary was about soil and all this stuff. And this next component for the product, which is, again, we can talk about ad nauseum, but I could not turn this thing off, even as I'm getting ready. And I'm like, Marley, hurry up. Like, you can't leave this woman waiting. And it was just like, it was all related to this patent. And it's so weird. Then you're saying it's your daughter's birthday. Then I had you to be on like first thing Monday morning. You know what I mean? And I'm texting Derek going, who's the one who booked you, like, oh my God, tell her I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. And it was all related to this project that has felt totally insurmountable, completely. Right. And then last week I was like, I got a little bit of relief because I was like, girl, you got it turned in. Like, that's amazing. And then this morning, though, I was, it's like, you're tired. I'm tired. I've been pushing all this stuff. I'm moonlighting. I've got a bunch of podcast tape. But I was like, this soil video fired me up. And I was like, I'm going to get these girls fired up today. And we are going to, really be the change we wish to see in the world, which was kind of where this whole thing started.
Yeah, you came full circle.
Right? And so the talk, and that's the other thing in this, that's so weird too. That's the other thing in this movie is they kept talking about coming full circle and closing loops and closing environmental loops and all this stuff. And the reason that I love this is because, well, very selfishly, you've helped me turn something that has been extremely upsetting and negative to me because I can't figure, I'm like, why would my mom want to be mean to me, in these, but she wasn't. She was just
Right.
telling me, you got to keep going, you got to keep going, you got to keep going. Even when I was like, there's no path forward, like this is going to be impossible. And then
it happens.
And now I realize, because as you say, it's been traumatizing carrying this around, because I'm trying to figure out, like, what am I missing here? Well, what I was missing is that I just had to get it done. Now I've pushed it over the edge. Now I can obviously talk about it more because the patent is pending, right? It's all that stuff is applied for. So thank you very much. That solved a lot of problems. And obviously we're going to have you on to do a whole other subject, because there are so many things we can talk about.
You're right.
I mean, now it's like this. Now I feel like this opened its own portal to like 10 other podcasts, which is good. So, but now what I want to do is, because I don't want to keep them all day, even though I gave the warning in the beginning that we could. How about if we go through those 8 ways that, since you just solved my big problem of what was this dream with my mom that's been haunting me for 4 years.
I know where I'm going to finish.
Okay, so give us those tips. Give us
Marley,
those tips.
You just gave it to me on a silver platter.
Oh, well, I hope so. Okay, good. Let's
by the way, it's Marley in my family, my granddaughter Marley. It's her mom, Chelsea, who celebrated her birthday last week on June 3rd.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, June 3rd.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Here's one of my all-time favorite dreams, and gives you my favorite solution finding point.
Okay.
So here's a woman who dreams that she's got a brand new puppy, and she's so excited about the puppy. And I have a puppy underneath my desk. He's been quiet the entire time.
Well behaved, because I've got a couple puppies out there who I could hear, and I'm like, oh, okay, keep going.
So Lukey is very quiet, good boy. Mm-hmm. And so she's so excited about this puppy. He's so brand new. All she wants to do is look at him eye to eye. So she picks him up on the table in front of her so that she could look right into his face. And he's so new and she's so excited. And all of a sudden, the puppy shits all over the table. And here's the puppy right here.
Oh, what a snuggler. Oh my God.
The puppy makes all over the table.
Oh, okay.
So I am looking, when I hear the dream, I am looking at the feelings, but I am also looking at the action. Okay. And so I said to the dreamer, what do you think happened in these last couple of days? Some situation that started out brand new and you were so excited about it. And now all of a sudden it's gone to shit. She said, I know exactly what it is. What is it? She said, I just started a brand new job and I was so excited about it. And now I've been working there 4 days. And it turns out the boss is a really abusive guy and he's been shitting all over me. So you got the play on words, you've got the action, you've got the feelings. Yeah. And so my favorite way to problem solve a dream is to take the story of the dream outside to waking life, solve the problem outside the dream, and then come back in. So I said to her, if you really had a puppy and you really put him on the table and he really shit all over the place, what would you do? She said, well, the first thing I would do is take him off the table and then I would clean him up and clean myself up. Yeah. And so because it's very important that it's not my language.
Right.
I always want the dreamer's language.
It's interesting.
And so I asked her, does that mean something to you? Take it off the table? What does that mean to you? And she said, when I take something off the table, I'm done. I am not negotiable. It's over. And she left my office and quit the job.
No. Oh my gosh.
Puppy off the table.
Wow.
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 That all the time. Like that's one of my favorites. Or here's a direct solution that sometimes appears in the dream, like Paul McCartney thinking about yesterday, for example, is a direct solution. Or Elias Howe, who invented the sewing machine and couldn't figure out what to do with the needle. It was driving him nuts. And he went to sleep and dreamed that he was captured by cannibals who stuck him in a pot of boiling water. And every time he tried to get out of the pot in the dream, they kept pushing him back in with their spears. And in the dream, he looked down at the spears and realized that at the tip of every spear, there was a hole. And when he woke up, realized that he shouldn't be putting the hole up here. The hole belonged down here, and the sewing machine was born. So that's a direct solution. A symbol or a metaphor.
That's weird. Well, it's very weird, number one, that you're even saying that, because my mom was the biggest sewer ever. So, like, I mean, she was the biggest fashionista. Like, they're
so we came together again.
And my grandmother, who was an immigrant from Poland, came from Poland and to Ellis Island and worked in the Singer sewing machine factory. I mean, that's just very weird. Okay.
And so the symbols, I'm glad I gave you examples, because now if you use a symbol or a metaphor as a solution, we already saw that with me dreaming about my big mouth aunt. I needed to lean in. And when whatever is the scariest part of the dream for you, that's the part you want to lean into. That's the part you need. So I needed to access that part of my personality that I was completely unfamiliar with, the part of me that knows how to speak up. And then the action or the non-action in the dream. So what about this woman whose the dream is that she's standing, looking up into the sky and watches a plane absolutely explode in the sky? What is the dreamer doing? I'm looking at the action. What is she doing? Nothing. She's looking at this plane exploding. And so it was the non-action that once we figured out what was the dream, she comes from a very traditional, very old style family. And she was dating this guy and he thought they were getting married. And so did she, and so did his parents and her parents. She doesn't want to marry the guy anymore. She's backing out of the marriage. And she was anticipating her parents' response that they would absolutely explode when they would find out. So there you have the expression explode and how that appeared in the dream as a play on words. And I said to her, using the first way to solve a problem, if you were really watched a plane blow up in the sky, would you be standing there looking at it like you're doing in the dream? And she said, oh my God, no, I'd be calling the fire department. I'd be calling the police. I'd be
taking action.
That's right. So she needed to prepare herself to speak to her parents and be prepared for the explosion about what she would do. So that's the action or the non-action. I'm leaving the most important to the last. And so Jung's active imagination, I'm on number 5. I'll jump to number 6 is polarities. The unconscious doesn't know how to say either or. Either I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. So the way the unconscious does either or is by having me saying nothing and my big mouth aunt appearing in the dream. Either I'm going to stay shut up or I'm going to open up my big mouth. And that's a polarity. And when you see that in the dream, the answer is, the solution is to come in the middle. You don't have to be all the way her, and you don't have to be all the way silent. You want to get somewhere in the middle. Here's an example. The child who has the dream, and he says to his mother, there's a giant chasing me and I couldn't get over the wall. And so the mother, using Jung's active imagination, says to the boy, well, I'm coming in that dream with you, and we are going to build a wall that's so tall the giant can't get over it. And you know the expression, I changed my mind? That's what you're doing. You're changing your mind. You thought you were going downtown to buy a pair of shoes, and you saw a blouse. You
Right.
changed your mind. And so
Right.
the minute the mother gives another scenario, she has triggered another way of thinking. And now that little boy is not afraid to go to sleep anymore because in his head, his mother's with him now.
Right.
So it'll never be the same again. And then, so here's what I want to say. I'm finishing with these two. You know, the big cage that for bingo or the
Yeah.
lottery, all the
Yes.
balls are bouncing around.
Yes. My
So you
brain, in other words.
have to
Yeah.
trust me on this.
Okay.
But if you want to go deep
Mm-hmm.
and want to find out why it is that you're not speaking up today and why it is that you're not responding to the invitation
Mm-hmm.
and why it is that you're being so serious when something is funny that's
Mm-hmm.
happening and you don't know how to lighten up.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at these different parts of yourself and you want to know, where does this come from? Where can I begin to dig for the gold? You can use Freudian's free association. You sit back in a chair
Mm-hmm.
and you close your eyes, and every single memory and association you have ever had since you're born are all those bingo balls. And you close your eyes and you think to yourself. You just take a couple of deep breaths and you think to yourself, where is it in my life that I felt this way before? So I accept memories from when you were 18 or 20 or 30, but I prefer you to close your eyes again
Mm-hmm.
and try and go back further to a childhood memory that makes you feel the way you're feeling this week with this dream.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the answer. And as
Yeah.
soon as you think of the memory, your adult self can look back at the memory and you could say to yourself, wait a second, is this how I would treat my own child? Would this be my response? So now it's your inner adult that is looking at your inner child. And I am here, Marley, promise you from the bottom of my heart that as soon as you revisit or relook at a situation from your childhood,
Mm-hmm.
there is an unavoidable shift that happens once you've involved your adult self. There is
I'm
a
sure.
shift. And you know the expression, once you know something, you can never go back to not knowing?
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. You will never feel the same way again about whatever it is. And so the way you do it with Jung is you also use Freud's free association with the bingo balls. But now, instead of looking for a personal childhood memory that reminds you of today's dream and the way you feel today, you're looking instead, this would be good for you,
Mm-hmm.
when you're thinking of a story, a book you read, a movie you saw,
Mm-hmm.
a story you heard. You're looking for something that reminds you of what you're going through today, because that story that you think of, it's
Mm-hmm.
got the answer in it. It
Yeah.
has the solution. And
Right.
all you need to do is connect the dots and you'll find out it's like this woman who keeps going up and down, up and down, up and down in the dream. And actually, interestingly, it was around the loss of her mother. And in the dream, she's going up and then the sun is in their eyes. She has to come down. And she goes up again in the plane and she has to come down again. And it's up and down. And when we did Jung with her, she thought of the story of Sisyphus. And what is the lesson of Sisyphus? It's the lesson that we have no power. He was punished by the gods. He had no powers. He had to keep going up, rolling that boulder up the hill again, over and over again. And that was the lesson of her losing her mom. She had no control over seeing her again in the way that she saw her while she was on this earth. It was the lesson of Sisyphus.
I love it. Well, Layne, as I say, we could be here all day. So Layne Dalfen, everybody, please.
And my books.
And your books. We're going to figure out how can everybody get a hold of you and what is the name of your book? or
Both
books?
my books are called Have a Great Dream. And even though my internet site is thedreamanalyst.com, if you type in haveagreatdream.com, you will also get there. This first book is like 100 pages, and it teaches you everything you need to know. It's called The Overview. And if Have a Great Dream Book 2 is called A Deeper Discussion, and that's about 350 pages.
Oh boy, yeah,
And that's
deeper for sure.
that want to go deeper. Like my daughters, there's a 20-year spread between my girls, and they're all mine. I had them when I was 20, and then I got an idea. When I turned 40, I had another one. And the younger one, who's like 32 now, she said one day, do you have to say it in 350 pages?
No.
Can't you say what you got to say in like 100 pages?
Evidently not.
Well, she inspired me to write book 1, because actually book 2 was the first one I published, and book 1 came later.
I love it. Well, okay, now, Layne, what is your Instagram? How can people find you there for a quick DM?
It's LAYNE_the Dream Analyst. And I do party. I mean, you're the party girl.
Yes, LAYNE_the Dream
Analyst.
I love it. Okay, everybody. Well, that's a wrap on this one for Every Day's a Train Wreck. I'm your host, conductress, dream subject today, Marley Major. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast, tell a friend, rate 5 stars if you're so inclined, and leave a comment. We love that. So, Layne, I can't thank you enough for your time. It was meant to be, and we will see you on the program next time.
Thank you, Marley.
Thank you.